ladies and gentlemen, introducing the competitors in the men's 3-metre final. Diver number 1, representing New South Wales, Zachary Chan. Diver number 2, representing Victoria, Frank Burton. Diver number 3, representing New South Wales, Sam Fricker. Diver number 4, representing Queensland, James Wood. Diver number 5, representing Victoria, Hudson Skinner. And diver number 6, representing Victoria, Benjamin Wilson. Good luck, athletes. You may now have a 13-minute warm-up for your event. Thank you.
All right, folks, welcome back after the break. It is the Australian Open Championships here in Brisbane 2026. I'm joined by silver medalist men's 10-metre, Matt Helm. So it's great to have your insights here today as a coach and obviously as a former athlete and a former Olympian. So looking to get your insights here. First up, we've got the men's 3-metre final. And, of course, the women's 10-metre final. So that should be pretty exciting as well. So, reminder to the audience, the scores are accumulated across the prelims, the semis and the finals. I mean, what do you think about that? I think it's a great thing to do, right? I think you get a real sense of who's diving consistently.
Yeah, that's right, Joey. The name of the game for diving and for our athletes to be really successful, particularly on the international stage, is that real high quality and consistency. And you really do get that when you combine the prelims, the semis and the finals together. The cream will always rise to the top. And, those athletes that are producing that high quality and consistency across both of those 2 days will sort of come to the top there. So, yeah, very excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And it's going to be a great final session of diving.
And here in Australia, are we trying to sort of replicate the typical type of program that you would see in the World Cup? So, like, obviously today we had some competitions in the morning with that sort of midday pause. I mean, is this typically what's happening in the World Cups and in the Super Finals?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be very challenging out on that international stage. There's a lot of diving that needs to take place across multiple days. So, yes, one of the things that we try and do here in Australia is really replicate what these athletes are going to be exposed to on that international stage. So, as you said, we'll have a prelim and a semi on one day and then a final on the other day. And again, those athletes that can really sort of back up from day to day and really perform under that pressure, they're the ones that, we're looking to represent our country.
Are they actually accumulating all the scores across the prelims, semis and finals in the World Cup? Or they're separating, aren't they?
No, that's right. They do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is obviously just more our own internal strategy to have those accumulated scores, just to really be sure. Are you performing, under pressure under those three events?
That's correct. Yeah. Because look, we want our athletes to be able to perform. When that whistle blows, and sometimes if you do a prelim and you have a great prelim, then you'll progress through to the semi-finals into the international stage, and then again into the finals. Here, obviously we want them to be ready to go from a prelim, because if they don't do that out in the international stage, then they're unlikely to progress through to the future rounds.
Okay, the athletes just getting warmed up, of course, getting back into the groove. I mean, what did you do when you had those competitions in your prelims and the semis? You just go home or back to the hotel, have a little nap? I mean, it's one of those things you don't want to nap and kind of get all groggy before the competition, right?
Yeah, look, I think having a really good strategy, rest and reset strategy is really, really important, particularly at that international level. You will find athletes sort of going back home, having sleep, maybe listening to music, watching a movie, things like that, just to really reset the mind so they can come back and then perform.
Yeah, Andy Banks always talked about that, having different planets, like had this analogy of just, when you're, sort of between rounds or between events, you just really just got to kind of switch off, just have, just normal conversations with someone, You know, just shoot the breeze about something completely different from diving, and then you're shifting your mind into a certain kind of state. Okay, now I'm getting warmed up. My mind needs to be kind of, more alert now, more sharp.
Yeah.
Then you do you just before you dive, obviously getting into this really concentrated zone of this bubble. After dive, boom, take some feedback, and then switching your mindset to somewhere else for a little bit. So you're kind of moving in and out of these different planets. It was an analogy that he liked to use. Yeah.
And you know what, it's really unique and personalised depending on the person. You know, some people do sort of thrive on that interaction with other people. You know, I think here you'll see Ben Wilson, who is very much, likes to interact with the competition with his opponents and things like that. But then you'll also have the flip side of that. You'll have athletes that like to sort of take their own moment, get into their own zone, and that really helps them. So, how athletes perform is very individualised depending on what works for them.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I like. I always had my favourite songs that kind of gave me those goosebumps, when you get the hair standing on your arms. Just something that kind of would pump you up, walk away and kind of shut off. And I mean, I was one of those ones I didn't really want to pay attention to the other divers. I would just sort of put my headphones on, walk off, and just sort of zone out. I didn't need to know what everyone else was doing. But then other people, I've spoken to other athletes, they really like it. They look at the board and like, no, hang on, I need to dive well. They enjoyed the pressure. But everyone's different, right? So
that's right. And I think it's really important as well to be able to switch on and switch off. I think that's a really good tool that, the top athletes are able to do. Because you don't want to be on the whole time, because that does drain a lot of that mental capacity, which is so important for the athletes to perform at that high level. So those athletes that can switch on, but then also switch off when the time comes, they're the athletes that can usually perform where it counts.
Yeah, like you said, just the ability to compartmentalise. I know Tom Daley was really big on that. When it was time to train, it was time to train. You focus. But once he wasn't doing that, he would like to switch his focus to, he likes TV presenting, for example, or learning about journalism. So he'd made sure he carved out some spaces in the day where he would focus on those things. But the number one thing he always talked about, although he was a mega superstar and, needed a lot of media interviews and so forth, he was like, training comes first. Then everything else, you have to sort of work around that.
Yeah,
and he was
100%.
very, very, I think he had a really good team around him, good sports psychologist that said, look, just do your thing, right? You just make sure you train. Outside of that, schedule enough time so you can do other things. I mean, I remember talking to some of the cliff divers, Alessandro De Rosa, and we just really came to this conclusion that he was getting a bit obsessed with the whole thing. I was like, dude, just go play guitar, do something different, switch off, have other hobbies. And I think that's really important. And, whether you've got other things to focus on, you might want to be a mechanical engineer. I know James Wood wants to be an electrical engineer one day, so it's good to have those other kind of hobbies.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I think athletes devote so much time and attention into their sport, and I think that's great. Certainly as an athlete, diving was my number one priority. But one thing that I, now that I'm in a coaching role, we talked about that. The importance of having balance. So yes, whilst diving's a priority, you do want to have that balance away from the pool. So you come to the pool, you leave everything else at the door, and then you come in, you focus, you work hard, for the results that we all want these athletes to achieve. But then, once the training session's over, then you do have to have that life outside of diving, and I really do think that gives you good perspective, good balance, and I think it's really important to be able to also then let diving go, and then move on to things outside of diving that that you might enjoy.
Yeah, and it goes the same for coaching, no doubt, right? You need to, if on the weekends, I mean, I know, for example, I like to just switch off and hang out with friends who've got nothing to do with diving sometimes, just to get out of that little world occasionally.
It really is so important for coaches as well. We, just like the athletes, we invest a lot of time, effort and energy and passion into this sport that, that we love so much. And, but yeah, you're right. Once I sort of hang up the coach's whistle at the end of the day, and then I go home, I'll be just like everybody else. I'll turn on the news or turn on Tipping Point and, hang out with my friends and family and things like that. So it is really important, and it does give me perspective as well. And, I feel really blessed at the moment to be in a role, particularly here in Brisbane, where I really have that balance. So I'm loving my job, but I've also got my family down the coast. I'm living with a my roommate at the moment, who's just a lot of fun, and so I've developed a really nice social network outside of the pool as well. So again, really having that balance has really made me very, very content in where I am in life at the moment.
Well, it just sounds like you're happy to be back in Brisbane. It's good to have you back as well, isn't it? Back to your old stomping ground.
Yeah, no,
I mean, we were diving together back in the day. I can't even remember what year it was, but
I don't think it had a 2 in front of it, so I think it might have had a 1. But it is great to be back in Brisbane. You know, I've had. I grew up here in Brisbane and had my diving career here, and had a number of sort of coaching roles here in Brisbane. So it was really like coming back home for me. And it's been amazing. 12 months. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, getting back to that community spirit of diving. It was funny because I've just been sort of stepped out. I've just sort of stepped aside with the Gold Coast Diving Academy, taken on a new job, but just had a bit of a mini break from the diving scene. But then when I came back here yesterday, I was like, oh man, this is my family, man. Mm-hmm. This is like, I realised I really missed it. You know what I mean? Once you're sort of part of that, like you got to have that thing, right? That one thing that you really always connect to. The little thing I just had something pop into my head the other day, but I just remember this story. I don't know if it's true. You tell me if it's true or false, but there was a story that you were getting ready for some competitions, and it was Christmas Day, and you asked to come in and train on Christmas Day. Was that true?
I feel like that would be false. I mean,
someone's selling porcupines.
What I would say is, if it was up to me, probably not. But if it was up to my coach and he wanted me to train, if he wanted me to train on Christmas Day, I would have been there for sure.
All right, I'll okay. Anyway, I just remember hearing this random sort of story, and I was like, I wonder if this is true. But anyway, there we go. We've debunked it. Myth busted. He did not train on Christmas Day to prepare for a competition.
I have trained 21 days in a row. I do know that much.
There you go.
Back-to-back competitions and 10 metre as well.
Oh,
so
geez.
I do tell that story.
As in, don't do that. That's a bit too much.
No. We've come a long way since those days. You know, there's a lot of emphasis at the moment on athlete health and well-being and load monitoring and injury prevention and things like that. So that's definitely not the way we do things these days. And
yeah, actually, Adi and I were just talking before about, because I asked him, I said, is there any new technology, any sort of AI technology that we can use to enhance diving? And he was talking about this analysis system that can track the training and essentially sort of recognize each athlete and where they are and what board they're on. I would assume that's correct.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And then obviously you can look at that data and you can see actually how many dives they do in training, how many lead-ups did they do feet first on 5 metre, how many dives they do on 10 metre head first. Correct. Which is amazing. And is it working well, or are you still testing it at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment we're just in the early stages of rolling that out. Look, at this point in time, we have currently been using an athlete monitoring system where we will input the athletes' programs, which does capture and monitor that data in the background. But yes, this new technology that you were just talking about will actually take a lot of that work off our hands. So it will be able to just be set up. The camera will roll, the athletes will dive, and then we'll get that information back. We will still need to write the athletes' programs and still monitor and just make sure that our programming still sort of fits within what we need the athletes to do to progress, but also to make sure that they're maintaining a certain load that doesn't go too far over into that risk of injury. So
and I suppose obviously if they do have an injury, you can actually start to track things, right? You can say, well, how much were they doing? What was the load like? And obviously everyone's got a unique body type as well, so it depends where you have the injury, but it's amazing technology. So we're just going to have our judges' introduction and we'll get underway with the competition for the men's 3 metre final. Should be great to see.
Ladies and gentlemen,
just a little recap on
the officials for the men's
everyone's performing. We'll do that just after the referees and the judges are announced.
Your assistant referee on the far side, Sky Weaver. Judges, judge number 1, Caden Boel. Judge number 2, Helen Mercarella. Judge number 3, Chris Lang. Judge number 4, Eliza Cole. Judge number 5, Gillian Brooker. Judge number 6, Kim Hoonen-Furler. And judge number 7, Paul Beach.
Cool, great to have all the officials here and all the volunteers. We've got to say a huge thank you to all of them. Just recapping on the results so far. So once again, all the scores are accumulated from prelims, semis, leading into today's final. So leading the way from Victoria's Benjamin Wilson. Okay, so with 784 points. Then it's Hudson Skinner in second place. In third, James Wood. Fourth, Sam Fricker. And fifth, Frank Burton. And then sixth, Zachary Chan. So we're running in reverse order. We do that in the high diving scene too, which I think is great. Helps create a little bit of excitement. We usually do that just for the very, very, very last round though. So Zachary Chan, a newcomer to the sport, right? So gaining some valuable experience coming into the open competition. So we've got in with 2.5 somersaults. Zachary. Nice little pike out, a little tidy finish, huh?
That was a great dive. Very impressed. I have been watching a little bit of Zach's diving. This is the first time I've seen him, coached by Esther down in New South Wales. What a beautiful takeoff. Finished nice and high above the board. As you said, piking out above the board and a great clean entry. That's a really nice way to start.
How good's Esther doing as a coach? I mean, it was just... She's made an amazing transition, but I think most athletes don't realise how difficult the transition is from being an athlete to the coach. All of a sudden, you flip the other side, you're like, oh, hang on a second. This is not as easy as I thought.
That's right, and I kind of went through that experience as well. I went from being a high-level athlete into coaching, and it is very different being on that side of the fence.
Is there anything that stood out to you that you thought, yeah, I didn't expect it to be like this? Is there anything that, when you started your coaching career? Hard question.
I was going to say I was hoping the hours would be different, but it's exactly the same.
Back 2.5. Nice kick out in beautiful form.
Beautiful start there by Frank. I'm really impressed with Frank and his development over the past few years. Beautiful style. Love the toe point and a beautiful clean entry.
So what do we know about Frank? Sort of, did he transition from gymnastics or sort of... how long's he been in the diving scene? So sometimes you see these amazing divers, but they've made that transition from other acrobatic sports, but it's a quick transition.
Yeah, I can't remember whether Frank has come from gymnastics. I do know that he's been in the VIS program for about 4 years, and for at least one of those years, he carried a significant back injury, so it's really nice to see Frank back and competing here at the Open Nationals.
Sam Fricker kicking off with a front 3.5 pike. There we go, diving very well. In his first dive, selling the nerves. Sam Fricker, of course, a huge social media star. He's done such an amazing job in his professional career. And he's one of those ones I'm like, I don't know how he does it, how he keeps up the training and then does such an incredible job running his businesses as well. So,
yeah, absolutely. He's definitely got a lot on his plate. It's a really nice way for Sam to start there, just a little bit back from the end of the board, but he really did quite well to get that around and a great rip entry to finish.
Got to commend Sam for helping raise the profile of diving as well, so definitely doing a lot of positive promotion for the sport.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see.
Got James Wood here, so he's got 405B. He's just 18 years of age, and we do know that he definitely transferred from gymnastics. It hasn't been all that long since he's been diving. Yeah, leaps and bounds in terms of his progression, right? In terms of the way he's improved.
Yeah, so look, I've been here for the past 12 months here in Brisbane, and I've really seen him develop under Edwin Yongyans there. Fantastic future ahead for James.
It's good to see also Benjamin Wilson just leading him and supporting him and guiding him in the synchro as well. So it's just great to see the other athletes taking him under his wing and saying, let me shine the light for you. This is the way to go. We're in it together.
Absolutely.
Okay, Hudson, front 3.5 pike. 22 years of age. Just placed second in the 1 metre individual event here this year and last year. I mean, he's got a lovely hurdle. Come on, we've got to give it to him. I mean, just utterly powerful, right?
Very, very strong. And that beautiful step-down position right there, you'll see the arm staying up and stretching down. Very aesthetically pleasing to to look at that technique there. Really nice start by Hudson.
Yeah, I think he's really honed in. They've really sharpened up his technique, and kudos to all the coaches and all the team and the support staff around him. I mean, he's got the strength, and I just think, with more time, more training, I think that will just start to fine tune. I mean, he's got the ability to do some big dives now.
He surely does.
So Benjamin Wilson, he's been overseas in the States, just started a college program. He said to me that he felt the pressure to perform because he made a big decision to go overseas, and he just really wanted to come back and hope that he can perform well, with the Australian team. So it means a lot to him.
And he's certainly been doing that on full display here this week. I've really been impressed with Ben's style and grace and aesthetic that he's brought to his diving over the past couple of years.
So how long's Benjamin been diving for roughly now, do you think? How many years has he got under his belt?
I wouldn't know exactly how long Ben's been diving for. Again, once when I was down at the VIS and coaching for the program down there, we sort of saw Ben in the underpinning program and brought him up to the VIS. So before that, maybe a couple of years. Yep. So again, very sort of early in his in his development as a diver. So really exciting future ahead for him as well.
Once again, respect to all the coaching staff to be able to mould and sculpt the athletes. I mean, for me, like I said, I step away from the sport for 3-4 months and you come back, and even like you, there's all these divers from interstate, and you're like, I haven't seen them before. And you're like, wow, look, where do they come from? Like out of nowhere. Front 3.5 pike for Zachary for his second round dive. He's very strong, right? Like, I mean, he's only a young man, let's face it, right? And so much more room to grow. Obviously, just maybe tightening up the form a little bit, but takeoff-wise, going well.
You'll see he just landed slightly back from the end of the board, and we know when it's back there, the board tends to feel a little bit more rigid, and so you'll almost see him do like a little buckle. But he actually did quite well to get that around. I think in the prelim, he did the same dive, and it wasn't quite as good as that one there. So fantastic by Zach to get that around in the final. Look, he looks very happy.
Yeah, in terms of landing short on the board, Adi and I were talking about that. We've seen all kinds of hurdles, and this is just the thing that you have to deal with in the sport of diving. It's very rare when you get a near perfect hurdle.
Oh,
that is
beautiful.
Elegant. Absolutely elegant. I mean, very smooth rhythm. He's definitely got his own style, and there's a rhythm to his diving as well. What do you think?
Oh, fantastic. Landing right on the end of the board. To your point before about, the hurdle, and there's such a fine line, under pressure, these athletes feel the nerves, and that sort of tends to make you feel like you hold back and not really go for things, and that's why athletes sometimes end up just a little bit back on the end of the board. But I definitely couldn't see any nerves in that dive there, landing right on the end, and beautiful entry through the water.
A beautiful toe point. It might be almost as good as your toe point there, or Twinkle Toes, Matt.
I would say it's better than mine.
Oh, no, yours not bad. Okay, Sam Fricker, we've got double out here. Right, well, I shouldn't say double out. He's getting into the twist quite early on that one.
It's definitely a unique twisting style there by Sam. But again, just absolutely nailed that entry, so he'll be really happy with that.
Got some good push out of the board on that one. Definitely hit the sweet spot. And tidying up the entry. I mean, speaking of injuries, though, I mean, he definitely had some struggles with his back injury. I was talking to him, and he said it was very, very, very frustrating. I mean, a lot of sciatic nerve pain. And the backs, sometimes one of the things is it doesn't heal. We just had Aiden Heslop. He just, with the cliff diving scene, he had to get back surgery, and he somehow managed to let it heal naturally, from what I understand. Out early, got the rip down.
Yeah, fantastic result by James there. You could hear he was a little bit heavy on the board, just stamping that board a little bit, but he didn't panic at all, and he got that dive around.
So, Matt, you work in a fair bit in the harness with a lot of the athletes, so you're all sort of sharing the load. I heard Cassiel's brother, Liam, is swinging the harness these days, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic to have Liam join the program and do some harness. I still do a little bit of harness with my athletes, but
do you get him to do some stuff for you as well, or?
He will.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you heard, but he put me in the harness the other day. All the athletes were having so much fun, and I'm like, you know what? I want to do a back 3.5 pike in this harness, and he did. He did that with me. Yeah, I was very dizzy afterwards.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, that you forget that the inner ear.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it regularly to adjust. Like if you do, I remember doing a 3.5 like a while ago. Anyway, but yeah, it made me super dizzy. Okay, Hudson Skinner. And with 3.5, it's a big dive.
It was a big dive, yeah. Great takeoff, just a little bit early on that come out.
Scary dives though, in with 3.5s, irregardless if you're doing it on platform or springboard. It's one of those ones, yeah, you really got to stand it up. Can't be too far away. Obviously, it makes it difficult to get the rotation, and for obvious reasons, don't want to be too close.
Yeah,
just
that's
perhaps
right.
backed it off just a smidge too much, maybe, yeah?
It's quite new to Hudson's program as well. He's been doing this for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So I think, over the next few years, we'll see Hudson really start to master that dive.
Yeah. Actually, Cassiel was talking to me yesterday, and he said, yeah, he's not a fan of him with 3.5s. He said there's always that one dive you don't like doing.
The nemesis, yes. We've all had one of those dives. Mine was reverse on 10 metre.
Mega height off the board for Benjamin Wilson.
So strong and powerful. Again, like I said, I've been really, really impressed with what Ben's been doing over the past couple of years. Very similar style in that hurdle step down to Hudson we spoke about before, but way up high in the air. Beautiful pike position, just a little bit over on the entry.
So Ben and Hudson doing a bit of synchro together sometimes, not at this championships. Obviously they switched that one out just to have some backup plans and so forth, but you can see in terms of the style of the hurdle there with Benjamin and Hudson, that would be a nice match.
Yeah, absolutely. AD's done an incredible job with this synchro strategy around combining different pairings just to see who's our best pairs and who might sort of come in a reserve capacity for that Team A, but then also having a look at Team B and Team C. So, just fantastic to see that we've got so much depth now in men's diving that we have that ability to mix and match and look at different options for our synchro strategy. Yeah,
and also create that capacity for adaptability as well, like for all the athletes, okay, because you've always got to have that conversation whether you need to back it off or lower it or higher it. Okay, choosing to do the full in, so obviously most of the athletes choosing full out, I would say. Mm-hmm. Just twisting in the first somersault just to mix things up a bit. Break it down.
Much better with that hurdle. You could see you got right to the end of the board and then really powerful off the board there. Just needed to squeeze and just get that around just a little bit further to vertical. Again, another nice solid dive there for Zach.
And again, reiterating, first time we ever seen him compete in the competitions. Nice big smile from Esther.
Esther looks very happy.
Yeah, she's really settled into her groove, no doubt. So swinging back to Frank Burton from Victoria. An impressive first 2.5 in the previous round. Nice reverse twister. Shame it went long in the end.
Yeah, again, you could see this was the one where he was just a little bit back from the end and he went for his normal takeoff, but it might have just been a little bit too powerful, and so he just misjudged that entry.
It's good to see the reverse twisters coming back in again, reverse 2.5 twisters, and obviously the reverse 3.5 twisters for the higher DD.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you'll see a couple of reverse 3.5 twisters later on from Hudson and Sam. But what Frank is demonstrating here is just that sort of lead up to that big dive there. So the reverse 2.5 twist at some point in the next 12 to 18 months, I think we'll see another twist on that.
Yeah, it's nice to see those dives come back again because obviously it was the reverse 2.5s, 1.5s, but there's a lot of finesse and control needed for those reverse 1.5, 3.5 twisters. So it's good to see the DD was boosted by the Aquatics for that particular dive, just to reintroduce some dives that had been put by the wayside. A little bit of an over-rotation for Sam on that one. So what caused that?
Just a little leaning back there, and he felt a little slow, and I think that's why he sort of came out just a fraction too late on that.
Yeah, that's hard, isn't it? The over adjustment sometimes, isn't it? Like if you're feeling slow, sometimes it ends up what happens is you end up going over, not short.
That's right. You know, you have to understand that these athletes are making split decisions within such a limited amount of time, and I think that's why we do the training numbers and volume and things like that.
Yeah, you think about a competition, you had 2 seconds in the air, and that's all you got, over 6 dives, 12 seconds in total. I mean, like you said, it's milliseconds, split seconds to make those adjustments, and Cass had some great points that he brought up as well. Sorry to just bring him up. It was just a conversation I just had most recently. That's why it's popping up. But he's just starting to learn how to play piano, just to help sharpen his mind up, to help recognise where he is in the somersaults. Just switching back to James Wood and his back 2.5 there. Perhaps just backing it off a little as well.
Yeah, and this was the opposite. He just came out just a fraction early, but you could see he stayed quite tight, so he still got through the water quite clean.
He's just got so much physical strength behind him, so it's good that he's got that foundation. You can always work and build on top of that. So Hudson Skinner, also a back 2.5 pike. Nice to see consecutive ones, so we can just compare styles and come outs.
Oh, that's fantastic by Hudson. That was probably the best takeoff. So really nice and steep and dynamic into that beautiful deep pike position. He'll be really happy with 7 and 7.5s on that.
And again, these are the dives where you really need a lot of work in the harness. I mean, you're also working a lot with your front 4.5s with the athletes as well, particularly obviously when they're learning a front 4.5 for the first time.
Yeah. So I've been working with Jonah.
I was going to say,
and he's just learnt the 4.5 earlier this year, and one of the tools that we would use, obviously 3.5s in the dryland harness, but also sort of bouncing
on the 3 metre harness.
On the 3 metre, yeah.
You're a bit of a whiz in the harness there, Matt. A bit of a legend. Full out and just coasting it, huh?
Yeah,
had all the time in the world on that one.
I saw him do one just like that in the training session just prior to this competition.
It's interesting how you're doing full out, and then later on I think you'll cap it off in the competition doing double out. It's just interesting to do that, obviously choosing not to do a reverse twister, for example. Loving his hurdle. Loving it.
It's really come a long way. Very consistent. Again, very aesthetically pleasing, that line on the end of the board, and he just takes him up really, really high in the air.
Really well-deserved scores. Got 8s across the board. Not quite fantastic across the board, but like there we go. Benjamin in a nice firm lead against Hudson Skinner. 9:26.80. Then James Wood faring pretty well. Just Sam Fricker just sliding back just a smidge there. So we've got more dives to come, and obviously a high degree of difficulty, and with good execution you can climb back up the ranks. So here we go, kicking off the round. We're at round 4 now. Reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. There we go. Still early days though, right? And we just got to make sure everyone understands very early days in his career, gaining valuable experience in the competition scene, and just obviously hipped off the board a bit too early there.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. This moment for Zachary, probably his first senior open final, but I know that he'll learn from this experience, and he'll come back next year, and we might even see that pike.
Yeah, and you've got to earn your stripes too, right? It's just, you can't be a champion straight away. Everyone just goes through that. Okay, Frank Burton, so we'll switch it up with the front 3.5 pike for his 4th round dive. It was on the hurdle, something a little iffy. I couldn't quite make it out.
Yeah, I've been watching Frank do this dive through this week as well, and again, also a new dive to his program. just a little bit back from the end of the board. I think if you're not getting right to the end of the board, it certainly makes that dive a little bit more challenging. But he did really well to get that as far around as he did. Beautiful pike position there, just a little short.
Just need to probably hold just a smidge longer. Just getting a little bit of feedback from the coach. Rick Stafford there. Okay, Sam Fricker, 305B, so reverse 2.5 somersaults pike.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
was
classy.
That was like how Sam would usually do that dive. Right on the end of the board, takes it up super high, beautiful pike shape and super clean entry. Very, very impressive by Sam there.
Just digging that little pause up the top there, so he's just nice and patient. You kind of just see him coming off the board and he just has that little bit of a beat and then snaps into it. Elegant pike, really made sure he snapped the legs firmly against the body. Very tall athlete as well, Sam.
Very tall athlete. But he uses that pike position and that beautiful line to his advantage. So same dive there by James. Very similar on top there, but you could see just a little bit later on that come out, which then made him just wash over on that entry.
But obviously nowhere near the amount of experience as Sam Fricker. He's been in the business a long time.
That's right.
But again, I would encourage all the athletes, and James to look back at his diving, say, about 6 months ago or a year ago. You'll be utterly impressed with how much progress you've made. Sometimes you're in the grind of the day-to-day, right? And you just day-to-day, week-to-week, and you don't know that you're improving. Sometimes you just need to have a look back and go, oh, hang on a second, I actually have come a long way.
That's right.
Okay, Hudson Skinner. Okay, double out. Strong fun dive to watch. Good rhythm on the board, yeah?
Yeah, again, great hurdle. Just was a little bit late out of his twist, which then makes everything else throughout that dive just feel a little bit late. So he's checking his hips are over a little bit too far. So as he goes to try and line up right there, and it will just always carry over. But again, beautiful hurdle.
Yeah,
just 71s. He'll be really happy with that.
Yeah, look, straight across the board.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of fine tuning, isn't it? Just trying to get just the right amount of rotation, the right come out, and the dig in the pike. Okay, Ben, let's go reverse now. Reverse 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. Oh, wow. How's the early come out? Hey? You just want to show off. He almost came out of that, could have a little wave to the people in front there before he went for his entry.
It was a beautiful come out. Again, you could see that taken way up, almost hits the 3-metre water harness there you'll see in the background.
Come on, son. Out of somersault to it. Has he done reverse 3.5? Yeah. Is he giving that a bit of a whirl?
I know he does reverse 2.5 on 1 metre. I'm unsure whether he's been working on reverse 3.5 in the background.
Mate, that was a great takeoff. I mean, you could see some of the judges there with the 8s rewarding the takeoff.
Yeah.
Those ones were like, okay, hang on. And again, we've got to remind ourselves, it is takeoff, flight, and entry, right? There are the 3 components to look at. Full marks for the takeoff. And that is the reason why he's leading the charge at the moment. So 1,050 points, 0.70. Okay, doing pretty well there. So sort of 52 points ahead of Hudson Skinner. Of course, just to reiterate, the scores are accumulated from the 2 previous rounds, prelims and semis. Okay, getting into the penultimate round now. So we've got Zachary kicking off round 5. Back to enough somersaults pike.
Oh, good boy. He'll be really happy with that. Great takeoff. Just a little bit washed over. I think maybe he felt he needed to pull that just on the entry there a little bit.
Yeah. And
great. Yeah, look at that. That's fantastic in the air.
And it's one of those dives that takes an immense amount of repetition in the harness as well, just to keep going over and over and over in the harness belt, just to really develop that aerial awareness.
And it's a blind entry as well, so you're spinning backwards. You don't get that opportunity to see the water. So, again, and we spoke before about the timing within diving is so crucial. So timing of the actions that you're trying to do to either make the somersault spin or to slow the spin or the twist down. So timing is really crucial, and he just left that a little bit too late.
Now with spotting, are you teaching the athletes just to have that little bit of a head tilt with their back rotating dives? You see it in the slow motion replays quite often, and you see the athletes doing their back 3.5s, back 2.5s, whatever it may be, but it was just that little head tilt, just a little cheat to have a look at the water.
Yeah, what I like to teach is a really neutral head position, because if your head's in a neutral position and when you're spotting, you should be able to see and make good decisions with the head in a neutral position. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I find if the head's a little bit back, you will pick up that spot early, but then I think sometimes that might lead to athletes coming out a little bit too early. So it just depends on the athlete and the style that the athlete chooses as well. But definitely the spotting is a really crucial component of our sport. Having good feeling, knowing where you are in space, but also backing that up with that visual sort of reference as well.
Mm-hmm. Frank Burton faring pretty well on his previous dive, but switching over to Sam Fricker with 3.5. Yeah, it's a big dive, and you realise how hard this dive is, right? Even the very best, it's very difficult to pick the come out right. Obviously, it all depends on what happens on the takeoff, but just take us through what you think happened in terms of takeoff and what happened on the entry and why.
You said it before, sometimes with these difficult dives, the takeoff is so critical. You could see Sam just sitting back a little bit, and he would have known this at this point, that it's feeling slow, and that's why he's hung on a little bit longer than he needed to, which has caused him to roll over. But again, a really, really big dive there for Sam.
It's always one of these. It's definitely would be one of those dives where it's hard. It's like, where's the right point to come out? There we go.
Yeah, nice job,
James with a full out.
Again, just stamping that board, you can hear when the athlete comes down. What you should hear is nothing. It should just come down and be in time, but the board is almost coming up as he's coming back down onto the board, which creates that stamp. But he's done really, really well with this dive to finish that off.
Your take on the fulcrum? I've had a few chats. Obviously, Edwin's got his thoughts on springboard, and Zhang and I talk, particularly when the divers are younger, but just he's fine with just playing with the wheel a bit. You don't have to have it way back on 9. And obviously, the bigger boys do. Or you might adjust things on the 1 metre. Any take on your thoughts on springboard and the fulcrum?
Yeah, it's the same thing I was sort of saying before. It's very individualised depending on the diver. Obviously, the further back the board is, the more spring that they will get, but then it becomes a little bit more challenging to ride the board.
Particularly as they're younger, I would say, right?
Absolutely. Wow.
Classy.
That's a perfect example of catching that board and having really nice rhythm through that hurdle. Interestingly, when I was sort of deep into my springboard career, I used to have the board on 7 because I couldn't put it on 9. I wasn't able to
That's
catch
what
it.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I just wanted to sort of understand what other people's take on it is, and I mean, look, the wheel's there for a reason, right? Like it's
that's right.
So you can adjust it according to what you need, and obviously some of the guys, the bigger boys, who can really dunk the board on the 1 metre, have to just yank that fulcrum back just a bit, just so you don't dip the board too hard in the water.
It was a really impressive dive there by Hudson. Usually sort of previously 6.5, 7s, but there was 7.5s and an 8 there for that reverse 2.5. So fantastic by Hudson.
Back 2.5 for Benjamin Wilson.
Another really nice solid dive there by Ben. Just a little bit back and not quite as deep in his pike shape that he was in his reverse 2.5 pike. And again, similar to his reverse, he just arches his back a little bit just there, which makes that slide a little over through the water.
How are you feeling about the distance? You can probably pull it in just a smidge.
I'll just watch this replay. Yeah, it is just a little bit back. And I always say that slight lean backwards off the board will give you that sort of same angle of over-rotation through the water as well. So you do want to try and be a little bit steeper on that takeoff to control that entry line at the end of the dive.
Nonetheless, I mean, just a little bit of over-rotation, but the other dives have been in very, very, very consistent. Some great scores. Benjamin Wilson, once again, solidifying his lead against Hudson Skinner, but Hudson's been performing very, very well. James Wood diving really well there, right? So not too far off the mark from Hudson, making leaps and bounds in terms of his improvements of difficulty and his scores. Here we go. This is our last round. Looking for a strong finish. Back 1.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists for Zachary Chan.
Good boy. That's a really nice way to finish there for Zachary.
I meant to say 2.5 twists. I think I said 1.5 twists by the way, so I'll just correct myself. But these are hard dives to control as well, right? You can also easily over-rotate on something like this.
That's correct. There's a lot going on. As you can see, there's somersaulting actions and there's also twisting actions. You could see just on that view from behind there as well, he was a little bit off to the side, which is why he just had that little bit of extra wobble and twist on that entry.
I always found those tricky dives. It's really got to just make sure you block it up enough so you don't pull the shoulders back and
That's right.
yank that dive over. It really affects the come out. Here we go, Frank Burton. Fall out, twinkle toes, beautiful toe point.
Yeah,
finish off the entry.
A great way to finish there. Again, just another new dive there for Frank.
And yeah, Frank's only 18 as well. It's, very, very, very young athlete still. So much room for improvement, but I mean, what he's got is he's got a great form. Elegant. He's got his own form, his own style. I think the foundation of his technique is really good.
Absolutely. And I think I was mentioning to you earlier, he had probably had about a year off with a back injury. So there's a year of his development that he's missed. And so it's really fantastic to see Frank back and being able to compete with these senior athletes.
But that's amazing to have that whole year off and then to see him diving that well. Kudos. Big respect.
Oh, wow. And there it is, the reverse 3.5 twister by Sam to finish. Beautiful off the board, beautiful and elegant through the air. And then again, a trademark of Sam's diving is that nice clean entry through the water.
Whopping degree of difficulty, 3.5. It helps him, that high DD, helps him with the scores there, 78.75.
Beautiful.
Looks like maybe a smidge of a hang 10, was it? Just a touch.
Yeah, sometimes on the reverse, though, that little bit of hang 10 actually makes you stand up nice and steep.
Yeah,
so it can actually work in your favour sometime, and it certainly worked in Sam's favour there. So
well done,
Sam.
Yeah, a couple of eights there as well. Well done. Good scores and high DD. Well done. Great way to cap off that competition for Sam Fricker. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 2 twists. Another hang 10 and holding tight just to try and finish the dive off.
Yeah, again, super strong and powerful by James just to get that around. But again, just with that hurdle, you can see he's a little bit out of time. Also, balance, he was quite over the end of the board with his shoulders, but he's done a fantastic job to get that all the way around.
Good. Always fighting to the very end of the dive. We've been talking about that. It's the common theme that we always want to talk about. It does not matter what happens. You always fight for the end of the dive no matter what. Getting some wise words from a very wise coach, Edwin Yonyons. All right, 2 more divers to go. We've got Hudson Skinner. Big dive, reverse 1.5 somersaults, 3.5 twists, 3.5 DD. Same dive as Sam Fricker.
Oh,
nice.
And that's the best one that I've seen him do. Again, I was watching some of Hudson's warm-up dives, and he did a couple of those, and that one was the best. So he's really saved it right where it counts.
Right in the sweet spot with the hurdle, landing on the board right where he wanted to be.
84 points.
Relieving moment, massive score, 84 points. High scores, high DD. Well-deserved result. Nice quick twist. Very impressive.
He'll be really happy with that.
You should be stoked, little cheeky. Yeah, show me the money. Come on. You cheeky fella. He's cool and calm, huh?
Cool and calm.
All right, Ben. Come on, let's do this. Let's cap it off. Front 2.5 somersaults, 2 twists. Looking for a strong finish. Got the rhythm, got the height, got the dive down.
Yeah,
you've got to feel happy with that.
He's had a really great finals, not just the finals, but his whole campaign here. He'll be really, really happy with that finish.
And like I was saying earlier, he honestly was feeling very nervous about, that decision to go overseas. It's a big call, and he was just hoping that he could prove that, yes, I've been putting the work in while I've been back in the States, and I can come back and still perform with the very best. So well done. Congratulations, Benjamin Wilson. 1,185.30 points across the prelims, semis and finals. We say congratulations to all of the young men competing here today. It's an absolute pleasure to watch the boys press that board, and we'll look at how things go. Here we go, sorry. A little bit of a switch up, I was going to say. Okay, Benjamin Wilson, 1,185. Congratulations for the win here. And second place, Hudson Skinner, definitely made up some ground on that last dive that he did there with a high DD. So that was interesting to see him close the gap towards Benjamin Wilson and Sam Fricker back on the podium again. And James Wood, look at that, only
very close,
only 2 points.
Yeah,
almost made the podium there.
You said before about not giving up and always committing all the way through the dive or right to the end of the competition. And sometimes with those really close calls, that's when that sort of never giving up and that sort of attitude right through to the end of the competition is so important.
All right, and also just a big shout out to Zachary Chan. Well done on your first Open men's competition.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Frank Burton, you're looking very stylish, mate. Love your toes. You're in competition with Matt Helm. Let me tell you, look at the form. All right, we're at the last event for the Australian Open Championships 2026. This is an exciting one. This will be great to watch. The women's 10-metre platform final. We have some incredibly talented athletes making their way out for the athlete walkout and presentation. Ruby George-Muller, New South Wales, representing NSWIS. Laura Hingston, someone you know very well and have coached over the years. Great attitude, Laura. Maggie Gray, 2004 gold 10-metre junior world champion. Millie Puckeridge with some huge dives in the international scene, so third in the synchronised events on 10 metre in the super final in China. Congratulations for that fantastic result. Matt, I'm quite excited.
Yeah,
I love it. I love a 10 metre final.
I do love a 10 metre final. I mean, I used to like competing in them, but I would far prefer to sit here and commentate with you and watch it these days.
I know, diving's not one of that sports you can just, not like picking up the tennis racket and, I'll just bust out it back through enough. It doesn't work like that.
No, absolutely not.
You have to be a well-oiled, finely tuned machine to do this sport. How cool has the decorations has been at this event? It's great to see sort of year by year stepping things up with the production and then the event standards. It's been really good. So a big shout out to Big Voice as well for all the great TV coverage and all the new graphics and so forth. So looking good, looking schmick.
It does. It looks great.
Just need some pyrotechnics and burn some things down. You know what I'm saying? Let's get our party on. Actually, the events in Montreal are fantastic as well. So I mean, I used to spend a lot of time with Mitch Geller from Diving Canada. He's moved on now, but they definitely put a lot of effort into their show presentation. Have these amazing lighting systems in the roof of Parc Olympique in Montreal. Ran some great events. Obviously got the high diving platforms in the roof. I'm talking to Alex Hutchinson about that, the CEO of the Brisbane Aquatic Centre. See if we can bolt in a 15-metre platform. So watch out, everyone. We'll have to organise our training schedules, when we do that.
as long as I get an opportunity to have a little jump off that.
I'll hold your hand, mate. That. We'll do a little backy together. We'll do a little baby catch. Can you imagine? Back double baby catch with Matt Helm, 15 metres. Here we go. All right, the ladies getting warmed up. So we're down to top 8. Semis, it was 12, right? Then obviously cutting down into the top 8. But obviously it's a different story when you're competing overseas and in the World Cups. I mean, how many athletes are we talking about? Like, sometimes they're up to 30 or so?
Yeah, 32.
In your prelims?
Yeah, it can be quite a long day for all the athletes who are competing in a prelim.
Is it capped? Is capped 32?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to be, wouldn't it? Yep.
Although World Champs, I think... Actually, I think in the last sort of 12 months, I'm sure that some of the prelims have had over sort of 50 in some of them, particularly the men's 3 metre. But I think it might just be Olympic, like the Olympic year, the Olympic cycle. That's when they just cap it to 32.
That makes sense, yeah. So, I was talking to 80. So, and Budapest World Championships is when we start our qualifying procedure for the Olympics as well, from an international perspective.
Yep. Correct. Yep. I'm pretty sure last year at the Singapore World Champs, they would split the prelim up into an A and a B prelim.
Yeah.
Which had more than 20 athletes in it, I'm sure of that. So there would be more than 40, certainly at a World Championship sort of level. I'm not sure what next year will hold. I would have to sort of look into that. But usually it would be around 32.
Yeah, and it's important to break those things up. I mean, you've also got to be realistic and think about the judging, right? Because if you're going to judge for that long, they're humans. They're going to start to sort of lose concentration after a while. So I'm glad they do those things as well, just to sharpen things up. But, I mean, these are things you'd all have to talk about with your athletes as well, right? Okay, what are you going to do between your dives? I mean, you run through all those sorts of scenarios. I mean, you just do little workshops, or this is just something that you kind of just do with your individual divers and just have chats about it and, little strategies to switch off between rounds and then get back into the zone before you dive?
One of the things that our athletes are exposed to is we have a performance support team who work with our athletes. So from a sports psych perspective, they will sort of help the coaches and help the athletes to tailor a performance plan that will help the athletes perform. So, our role is to help them from the performance perspective of getting off the boards and the platforms, but then so much of the performance is what happens off the board as well, and making yourself in the best sort of position to be able to execute and perform those dives. So, knowing when to switch on, when to switch off, how to switch off, processes and things like that. So, imitations, visualizations, a lot of that stuff that goes into the performance happens off the actual diving boards itself. And we do have people that sort of come in and help with that.
Yeah, I always like watching sort of Tom Daly, like he had just had this, it was just like a body language thing. You just watch him before the dive, he had this pure concentration. You could really you could look at his eyes and go, yeah, he's in the zone. He just was just there. You could just tell. Yeah. And you knew that it wasn't just luck. It was just something that he worked on to get into that point, and with psychologists and just making sure you do the right thing. And then it was fun just sort of watching Melissa Wu, how casual she is before an event, even the Olympic Games, and just have a bit of a chit-chat and, where do I put my shoes? Oh, yeah, I'll go over here. And, no particular set routine, but just sort of just going about her business just like a normal day, like you go to training, and just that was her way of just getting into the zone.
You've probably spoken there about two of the most experienced athletes in the world, and and that's what it's all about as well. It's that experience that's accumulated over a career of years and years of their diving that they figure out what really works for them. So you mentioned Tom can sort of really switch on and, looks very serious, or Mel, who likes that chat, or, things like that. So, again, it's very sort of personalised depending on the athlete.
Yeah.
And, again, it's just that experience that has been accumulated over, years and years of diving that makes them so special.
Yeah, and I think we need to remember, particularly those two, they were in a similar situation. They really hit the world stage early as well. We forgot actually how long she was diving. I mean, so Melissa, how many Olympics? 4?
5.
5, sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, I thought it was 5. That's incredible. Yeah, well, it must be 5, right? So hang on, yeah, Beijing, correct, 2008, yeah.
London.
Yeah, 2012. I was there, actually. It was an amazing games.
Rio.
Yep, 2016.
Tokyo.
Yeah, because that one got postponed, obviously, COVID, yep.
Paris.
Beautiful. Right. And obviously got the podium as well, 3rd place on 10 metre.
Amazing.
I mean, there was a few narrow misses with the Olympics as well, like didn't quite make the podium. In the individual, once you got that podium, that was just like,
yeah,
thank you. I think we all wanted that, right? You know, not just her. It was all of us were just like,
I think
come on,
the world wanted that for Melissa. Yeah, no, look, fantastic career and just such an amazing role model for all of our athletes in Australia. Someone to have had such a decorated career across so many years. It's just fantastic to see, and even now, you know, to see that she's gone on and having so much success in her life post diving as well. It's really, really important, I think, for you know, our athletes to be able to aspire to have those types of performances, not just in the pool, but then to go on and have this life that's sort of rich and, you know, rich and fulfilling sort of post-sport as well.
Yeah, she's got a great personality though. I mean, she's really done well. And you could just tell she was going to be successful at anything she wanted to do, whether it's sport or whether it is, you know, running a business. And, you know, so and she's really great to chat to as well. She's really a lot of fun, you know. And again, being one of those great role models for the other athletes over the years, like Madison King at the moment, and really just shining the light and guiding the way. An exemplary athlete in the way that she dove and also the way that she carried herself as a person. So, and I think that's also what we're trying to encourage as well across the board. It's also about being a good person, right?
Yeah, 100%. You know,
Maddie's good to one another.
That's right. Maddie's been on an incredible journey. Her performances speak for themselves. You know, she's an incredible role model, and you know, she's at this stage in her career now where, you know, she really wants to give back and really sort of set the example of what, you know, what a high-performing athlete looks like, not just in training, but, you know, also sort of life outside of sport as well. And it's been such a fantastic working relationship since her and I have started working together in the past 12 months. It's just been an incredible journey. And there's still plenty in the tank.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Right, we're not too far away from getting into the competition. Definitely starting to get a little bit excited now. Right, so what's next? Where are you off to? I think you're off to Bolzano. What's the schedule for you?
Yeah, so we'll head off to America, to Mission Viejo for a week.
Oh, Mission Viejo, beautiful pool.
We've got a training camp there, which is outdoors, and it will be our base for the LA Olympics. So we want to go and do a bit of a scouting pre-camp there, and sort of, you know, test out the facility and get familiar with the, you know, with the pool and with the environment, and then we'll head over to Bolzano sort of straight after that. So we'll be a week there as well, which is fantastic. You know, that gives us a couple of outdoor training and competition opportunities ahead of what is going to be really important for our athletes come LA, because we know that that's going to be an outdoor competition. And so a lot of you know, the things that we're doing now with our athletes is to really prepare them for what's going to be expected of them come the LA Olympics.
So Mission Viejo will be your base in LA just before the games. Have you managed to book the pool out?
Correct, yep. That's all been taken care of.
Man.
Well in advance.
There must be a lot of teams fighting for that pool, as in to have that as a training base before the Olympics.
I would imagine there would be.
I'm just thinking about logistics. I mean, that's a beautiful pool. There's not that many available that are outdoors that are of that standard, let's say. So, yeah, that's a good job that everyone got in there early. I think they're going to be renovating the Rose Bowl for the Olympic Games as well. And of course, we're pretty lucky having the Gold Coast pool as well. And actually, you're probably not aware of this. I was talking about this with Adi and with Cass. Good news for everyone at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. We've got 2 more 1 metre boards. So we went to install them. Unfortunately, the boards, just the way the concrete working with the guttering, we couldn't get them close enough or further enough forward just to meet the World Aquatics regulations. So we've had to, at the moment, so the pool is being drained so they can build these concrete bases in so they can just shift the anchor point a little bit further forward, and we'll bolt in 2 brand new Duraflex stands and diving boards. They'll be placed to the right-hand side of the 3-metre boards if you're facing forwards in the diving direction, which is great because that just means, well, you've got 4 1-metre boards on either side. Very good for development, you know, so we're talking to Vininka about developing some form of a TID program out there so we can run that and full-side training over there. And obviously it will be great for just training in general, right? Doing your lead-ups and for the competitions that will come up at the Australian Cup in December. We've got the officials' introduction. We'll let Wade announce a Wade.
And your reserve, Jane Boel. I'll now hand the event over to our referee.
All right, Matt, let's do this. We're rounding off the Australian Open Championships with the women's 10-metre or the platform final. Kayla Davies, arm stand back, double somersault, 1.5 twists. New South Wales. And Matt, I mean, the handstand, I mean, that was a great start. I mean, very steady, extremely well controlled. Pity about the over-rotation, but still a lot of positives to take out of this dive.
Yeah, look, to open up a competition with an arm stand in itself is, you know, it's very, very, very brave. But, you know, she's had a fantastic takeoff there. Again, maybe lots of adrenaline. I mean, technically on top there, you couldn't fault it. It was really, really nice takeoff. The coordination, beautiful twisting action. You're right, just a shame that it was just a little bit over.
Would you say just a little bit too much chili sauce on the top, yeah? Just a smidge too much rotation?
Probably a lot of adrenaline and over-arousal.
Yeah.
So, you know, she will look to reset, calm the nerves a little bit more and, yeah, head into that second dive.
It's a good point, though, isn't it? Sometimes you're just like, whoa, full of adrenaline, full of power. It's pretty common to overdo things just a smidge.
Absolutely, particularly on that first dive.
Hannah Smith, 107B, front 3.5. Good start, huh? Really nice and tall on the takeoff as well. Tall and proud.
Yeah, very, very nice takeoff. Again, just washing over a little bit. Again, probably all these athletes will be a little bit nervous. Beautiful pike shape there. Again, just washing that over a little.
And some of them have been pretty busy as well, like you're competing in synchro as well, so there's probably a little bit of fatigue kicking in for some of the athletes too. You know, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's been a really big program. You know, they've had the prelims, the semi and the final, but then also a lot of these athletes have also competed in the synchronized event.
Okay, Sophia Knight. She was third in the World Junior Championships in Montreal in 2023. High caliber diver. Also choosing an arm stand for the first one. Same dive as Kayla. Arm stand double 1.5 twist.
It's a great way to start. speaking of a big program, Sophia's also done 3 metre here as well.
Yeah,
So not just a platform, but she's done a prelim, semi, and a final of the 3 metre event as well. So a really big program for her. But she's certainly showing no signs of tiring towards the end of this campaign.
And she said she's been doing doing springboard and obviously platform because she's in the States doing all the NCAA events, and the universities or the colleges, I should say, like them to compete in both events so they can get extra points. So they're very competitive over there with their college program. But she's really enjoying lots of competition as well.
Yeah. Well, what that does, that exposes her to a lot more competitions, a lot more opportunities to, practice, being able to control their nerves.
So Ruby Drogmuller from New South Wales and N-Swiss marking out a run-up for the front 3.5 pike. Start looked okay, right? Just
not too
a smidge
bad.
of a rollover.
Yeah, she was a little bit, if you'll notice, she was just a little bit back from the end.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, we'd love the athletes to get right to the end of the platform. See, she was quite far back, but again, beautiful pike action.
You're right, I did miss that. I just glimpsed away, but yeah, you clearly see she was just a bit further back, and that makes it hard. From that point, you're like, ooh, okay.
So what you'll tend to see is with the feet being so far back, the shoulders have to be forward on that takeoff so they clear the platform, and then you get that over rotation on the entry.
Yeah, so typically you want that textbook, really tall, arms right to the ears, none of that leaning forward business. But
that's correct.
To be honest, for safety kind of, reaction to what happened with being short on the end of the platform, you've got to do that. Anyway, moving forward.
I also know what it's like to run towards the end of a platform that's 10 metres above the water, and it can be quite daunting. So,
we had Molly Carlson in the Rebel event slip.
Oh, right.
She basically almost missed it. Back 2.5, 1.5 for Lauren Flint in the N-Swiss program.
It's a really great takeoff there by Lauren. Just needed to get a little bit deeper in that pike position when she came around out of her twist. Just try and find a little bit more rotation. See, she just opens up a little bit too early, left that a little short. It's a good way to start.
And this is something that you work on a lot on with lead-ups and 3-minute springboard, right? So make sure you get that connection out of the twist and really sort of getting into that shape nice and quick,
Yeah. Well, we were speaking before about Sophia doing those multiple disciplines there, but, springboard really does complement platform as well. So whilst athletes do prefer to specialise on either springboard or platform, both of those disciplines can help complement the technical development of the athletes across those disciplines as well.
And here's a woman who stole your toe point, Laura Hingston, best toe point in the business. Two and a half somersaults, 1.5 twist. Good girl.
That's fantastic, yeah. Look, I've worked with Laura for a couple of years before taking on this role here in Queensland, and I know that she'll be really, really happy with that. The reason she puts this dive first is because she likes to use that adrenaline and, those nerves to really help her get this dive around, and so I know that she'll be really, really happy with that start.
That's a really good point. Yeah, using the adrenaline to your advantage, because it really is one of those dives where you've got to attack the dive, right? Like if you're doing a back 1.5, 3.5 twister, you need more finesse and control. This is one of those ones where you're like, right, let's get some grunt together and really attack the takeoff. Yeah,
that's right. And you'll notice some of these athletes will use a back or reverse 2.5 in their program as well, and that does require a lot more sort of control, and so using that at an appropriate time in their list is really helpful.
So Maggie Gray with 2.5 pike. Oh, how about that? Get out of town. Maggie Gray crushing the entry.
And so cool, calm and collected. Look at her. Oh, there's a lovely little smile.
Wow. 2004 gold medalist, junior world champion in 2024. And after that dive, that shows us why she was the world junior champion. Not a drop left out of that one. It was a little drop in a teacup. Oh,
look at that. Technically,
damn,
perfect. Oh, and there's a 10 there just to prove that. It's a good way to start.
Unbelievable. I would have given it a 10, really. Come on, why not more 10s? What an amazing dive.
So amazing to see these junior athletes really stand up there and be able to, perform under the pressure of an Open Nationals with experienced athletes.
Wow. Millie Puckeridge. I mean, we've got a lot of good things to say. When an athlete performing some huge degree of difficulty in the women's international field, let alone Australia. We'll also see back 3.5 in the tuck position, but strong diving, good finish, really good, confident start. Give yourself a cup of confidence to move forward with the competition.
That's right. She's incredibly strong and powerful. You can see that takeoff, almost double somersault finished above the platform. And really nice control of that rotation. 8.5. That's a fantastic way for Millie to open.
So Millie is leading the way after the preliminaries and the semis, but not by much, just a few points ahead of Maggie Gray. So there's the results there. Wow. Okay, Maggie Gray leading the way, 7.17, but just 2 points between them, tit for tat. In terms of those results spreading across from the prelim semis and now into this competition. Laura Hingston sitting in third place now. And we've only done one round of dive and I'm beside myself. This is amazing.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Okay, here we go. Second round. Kayla Davies to kick things off. Back 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist, the pike position.
Again, beautiful takeoff there. Really nice twisting action. You can really tell that she brings that gymnastic sort of quality into her diving. Powerful, nice twist, dynamic. Again, just missing that entry a little bit.
I mean, in terms of just missing the entry, I mean, maybe sort of closing underneath a little and head down.
Ducking that head. You can see she comes around here. She should be able to see that water, but you can see that chin is sort of ducked on that chest a little bit.
You quite often see that when the arms sort of just reach in front of that chin level rather than around the ears. And
that's
just need
correct.
a little bit more of that reach out just to get the line up, but that'll come with time. There's nothing easy about diving on a 10-metre platform. Hannah Smith, 407C, really big dive, in with 3.5 tuck.
And it's just the final piece of the puzzle too. It's just that entry. The top of Kayla's dive there was, you can't fault it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, strong diving, strong takeoff. Bit of a long little pause on top of the platform, right up in the toes.
Yeah, she'll be really, really happy with this dive. A lot of these girls choosing to do this dive. It's a really important dive in our synchro strategy. Mm-hmm. So the girls will be looking to do this inward 3.5. And she's done that fantastically. Straight up and down, nice and vertical.
Good scores, 70.40 for Hannah Smith. A beautiful posture on the platform. That's one thing I really love to see, is just that nice line, straight line from the arms through the shoulders, right through to the toes. Got to start well. Good posture is really important.
That's right. And then you can see how that posture then carries right through to that entry as well. Beautiful and straight.
Nothing but impressed by the diving so far. Sophia Knight, 3.5 pike position. Yeah, a bit of an uncharacteristic miss, I would say, just at the end of the dive.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was keen to see how she got to the end of the platform, and she did a really good job. You'll see right to the end, nice and upright, see that? Mm-hmm. But again, maybe, just a little bit too late in realising where she needed to come out of that. Nice and confident and powerful on that takeoff, which is really impressive, and the judges really want to see that type of takeoff.
And once again, it's so easy for us to sit here and look at the, some of the mistakes, but we're talking milliseconds to get things just right, and it's not an easy sport. Not an easy sport by any means. It takes many, many hours of practice, dedication. Ruby Drojmiller, 407C, in with 3.5 somersaults in the tuck position. In synchro with Maggie Gray as well. Nice tight tuck though, right? Really
it was
good
a
form.
Beautiful tuck position. You could see just when she came out, there was a slight twist on that entry.
It's funny with twist on the entry. It just depends where it stems from, doesn't it? Whether it's the takeoff or whether...
Yeah, see
it's
those
just a slight... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it could just be that one arm that just grabs slightly in front of the other one that caused it. But I really thought she really got after the takeoff, nice and tall.
It was a great takeoff. Again, for the inward 3.5, it's all about the takeoff. If you get that good takeoff, that gives you the time and the space to make a good decision about where to come out, and then try and get that nice entry line for the entry.
Right, let's switch it up to the running takeoff. Front 3.5 pike for Lauren Flint. I think you were saying she came back from an elbow injury. Right, had quite a long stint away from fully pledged diving, let's call it.
Oh, well done. Yeah, that's right, Joey. A couple of years ago, she was away at a competition and she tore one of her ligaments in her elbow, which, obviously had a pretty significant road to recovery. So it's really fantastic to see her back, and I've been watching her for the past sort of 9 to 12 months, and she's really sort of come back nice and strong, and beautiful takeoff there.
And it's one of those things where you've got to be so careful with the recovery to make sure you don't rush it and get back too soon. And, we're hitting the water at, about 50 kilometres per hour. Big G-forces upon impact. So well done for the recovery. Lauren Flint. Nice diving. So Laura Hingston with a very graceful dive. I love watching this one. Back 2.5 pike. To show the real grace and form and the lines. That pike is amazing.
It's beautiful to watch, isn't it?
Wow.
I think she'll be a little disappointed with that. I know that, we would have seen through the prelim and the semis this go a little bit more vertical. And I know that she does this really, really well in training as well. So for that to be just a little bit over, I know that she'll be disappointed. But, I mean, it's very, very beautiful on top.
So typically you'd say that this is a dive that she's... one of her favourite dives, I would say, more or less, yeah?
Would be one of her favourite dives. A lot of time and space to show that aesthetic, which I know the judges really appreciate.
Just a slight pull on the entry, but still a lot of grace and elegance on takeoff and flight. Maggie Gray, 107B. And that inward 2.5 pike was just something special from the previous round.
Yeah.
Still in the pocket, though. Still in the zone.
It was a nice dive by Maggie. Again, just that little bit back from the end.
Only just had a birthday on June 1st as well, by the way. So she's only just 16
just turned
years
16, that's right.
16 years of age.
She has a very, very long and bright future ahead.
Yeah, and just with obviously just a bit more physical development as they grow older, right? They grow taller and you get a little bit stronger as time goes on. And it will just make things just a little bit easier in terms of the takeoff and the power. That's just the reality as you grow up, at the age that she's at the moment. So, but really good. Love her smile, love her energy. Always great to have her around.
She's so cool, calm and collected around the pool deck.
Okay, Millie Puckridge. DD 3.2, arm stand, back double somersault, 1.5 twists. A little bit of shoulder strapping there. Look, just a little hair short, right? But in terms of technique, ability, everything's there.
Yeah, she sort of cut it in a little bit, so it was a bit underneath the platform, and she didn't get that timing and coordination to really sort of pop it. See how it sort of cut underneath the platform a little bit?
You need that kind of parabola, that kind of
more
that
up and away.
And over.
Yeah, that's right.
A little smidge cut down, yeah. But it's very difficult to do that, right? Obviously, you're on your hands. You're doing a handstand to try and get the timing just right.
And you're facing backwards. There's a lot going on in that dive, but it's all right. It's only early within the competition. She's still got 3 more dives to go. And
you can see sort of Chava there, so exactly almost saying the same thing that we're just talking about. Just a little cut down, but that's okay. Okay, so that was Millie Puckridge rounding off round 2. And there's the results at the moment. So Maggie Gray leading the way, 775 points. Just starting to pull ahead of Millie Puckridge, but of course Millie Puckridge has some very high degree of difficulty dives to come. Laura Hingston still in the running, not too far behind Hannah Smith as well. And pretty tightly packed there for the remainder of the field. In terms of the distance between points, Kayla Davies 305C, reverse 2.5 tuck. Nice
great
work.
job. Yeah, so I've watched Kayla do this quite a number of times this week as well. She's very consistent with this dive.
Got that nice sharp kick out. I think it's one of the things that stood out. Bang!
Yeah, beautiful tuck shape there as well. You can see just as she goes through the water, her arms collapse forward, which does bring up that little bit of splash. But I have seen her rip that entry and put that down for 9s and 10s.
Yeah, it's a good
point. Fantastic.
You just sometimes just the shoulders a little bit in front there, not quite behind. But still, I think when you see that nice confident kick out, it really shows that they know where they are in the air. They're confident about the dive. A bunch of 7s for that dive. Well done. Cool. Hannah Smith. Same dive. First 2.5 tuck.
Not too bad. The jump, just missing a little bit of that jump on that takeoff, but very nice through the air, just a little bit short.
Always scary dive, those ones, aren't they? Reverse 2.5, reverse 3.5s. I mean, it's usually the one dive that when you first learn that one, it's like, very nerve-wracking. So nothing but respect for all the athletes performing these skills to the platform here today. But really getting after takeoff, just need a little bit more chili sauce, a little bit more rotation on the dive.
Same strong, confident kick out that we saw Kayla perform earlier on as well. So they're doing some fantastic work down there in Sydney with the women's platform.
All right, in with 3.5 tuck dive that you've got to attack the takeoff, get the rotation moving. Sophia Knight, now 20 years of age.
It's a great takeoff, really confident.
But yeah, she was very tall. You could really see. It's nice when you see the, I'll call it the energy, really getting after it, using the ankle, pop, big strong jump up. Okay, just a little bit more tightening up on the entry, of course. But she said she's really enjoying the college diving program at the moment. Really becoming a well-rounded diver, enjoying the experience of travel, learning new things as well. So Addie and I talked about that. It's really important to embrace that because there's a lot to be learned with life experience, not just diving experience as well. Ruby Drogmiller, back arm stand, double somersault, 1.5 twists.
Yeah, that was a nice takeoff.
Yeah. But just the trajectory, just a little bit further out, a little bit more of that parabola kind of up and over as well, helping control the end of the dive. You did this dive though, right?
I did.
Yeah. How'd you fare with it?
Not too bad.
Yeah, didn't mind it?
Yeah, it was one of my more steady dives. I learnt this dive with an extra twist, but I reckon I only did about 3 reps, and I was like, that was enough for me. So I went back to the 1.5 twist.
Yeah, it's a lot of dive, isn't it, to get it around? But very impressive. Beautiful arm stand. Elegant form of Ruby. Moving forwards to Lauren Flint. In with 3.5, sorry. For her 3rd round dive, so 5 rounds in total. So we're at the midway point of the competition. And that's a hard dive, and you've got to really get after it. And that she did, right? She had enough rotation. She had a good problem.
It's a fantastic takeoff. Again, just lots of adrenaline and arousal that she probably needed to control and just come out a little bit earlier. I think you'll notice a lot of these girls are putting this in with 3.5 in the middle of their list because it's the one that is a little bit more complex, a little bit more challenging for them. Mm-hmm. So they want to do that in the middle and save the beginning and the end of their dive list for dives that they feel really, really comfortable with, and they can open up or close the competition feeling really comfortable.
And a dive that requires a lot of energy on takeoff as well. Like it's got to be really, you can't leave anything on the table, right? You need all the energy and the power required to make the dive and make the somersaults and rotations. Laura Hingston. Reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. Nice.
Yeah, that's better from Laura. She was a little bit cautious on that come out. Usually she would get those arms a little bit further back and really get through that water a little bit more clean. But look, it was still nice and vertical, and I know that she'll be happy with that.
She's one of those divers I really like to look at. There's a certain fluidity to her takeoff. Look at those nice rounded circular arm movements as well, and into that. Look at the tuck position as well. Impeccable tuck position.
Very, very precise actions and intentional actions, which, that's something that I love to teach as a coach, right? But, and I know the judges are looking for that as well.
Yeah, look, and they rewarded the good takeoff, a good flight there. It was just a shame the arms didn't quite get far enough back, but still very, very good dive. Maggie Gray onto her arm stand dive now. Arm stand back double, 1.5 twists. Look, she's diving very, very, very consistently. Right in there, of course, she had a magic start to the competition, but she's right there, diving at world-class level.
This was the takeoff that we want to see. It pops up, it's good trajectory. Again, maybe just lacking a bit of confidence to really just go for that entry.
Yeah, just got to also get that elbow and lock just before the water, just kind of getting that A good lock through the water. But you're right, I think the takeoff was just in the pocket.
Yeah,
popped up and over.
Yeah.
And mechanically it looked good, right? The twist was smooth.
Technically really sound.
Head was nice and neutral.
Good.
And hats off to the coaching team, to all of you guys. I mean, doing a wonderful job, laying the foundations. Millie Puckeridge.
Spoke before about the athletes choosing the middle of their program to do their big dives. Here's Millie doing her back 3.5 tuck.
As her hardest dive, so degree 3.3. Very few women in the world doing this dive.
Wow. Well done. Should be really, really pleased with that.
Now, we got to discuss explosiveness, the power on takeoff. I mean, there we have it. On the world stage, she's got to have one of the biggest jumps, the vertical jumps in the world, in the women's field. Just amazing. Not only is it powerful, it is technically fantastic. Maybe a smidge back, but that'd be the only sort of comment I would say, right?
Yeah. I'd love to see that line on that entry be a little bit more flat and straight. You could see it was just a little bit archy, which is probably why a little bit of that water got thrown up. But look, 7s, 6 and 7.5s there. She'll be really, really happy with that.
Okay, 66 points. Really, really good score there. Keeping her in the running, in the competition. Okay, still pretty tightly packed, so Maggie Gray still leading the way, 8:42.90. Just starting to pull ahead of Millie Puckeridge there. Okay, but still not too much in it. It's only about 9 points difference. For Laura Hingston in third still. Okay, we're in the penultimate round now, so it's round 4. In with 2.5 somersaults pike. Final day of the Australian Open Championships 2026. Showing off her beautiful lines.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
Pocket knife pike position, legs folded against the body.
Yeah, really impressive talent is Kayla. Beautiful jump here. Look, so powerful, nice pike as you mentioned. Again, just a little bit over rotated on the entry, but you can see even though it was over, it was still quite clean.
It's one of those dives that's pretty common to have the old tippy toes occasionally to give a little bit of a little kiss on the platform, just to remind you.
Yes, in my early 10-metre days, I did do this dive, and I have hit the platform a couple of times, and thankfully I did move on to the inward 3.5.
It's one of those ones. Nope, not doing that again. Hannah Smith. Back arm stand, double somersault, 1.5 twists. I'm very impressed with all the arm stands today. Extremely well controlled. Excellent technique, nice and steady.
It was great,
there,
yeah,
right?
really nice takeoff. And they're just sort of coming around, seeing the water, but then really not strong enough there on that impact.
But it had all the ingredients for a great
takeoff.
Dive. Yeah. I mean, like we were talking about before, didn't cut it down, got that nice trajectory off the platform. Really strong. You can see the elbows pushing, getting up and over, giving herself some room. And then just with some more time, working on the technique on the entry, you can just get that grab, or maybe perhaps didn't quite get the hands together, I'm not sure. Still with good DD, 54.4. So Sophia Knight with the reverse 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position.
Oh, fantastic.
Confidence on the out of the kick.
Nice. Oh, all of it. The takeoff was confident, really sharp through that kick out, and nice and vertical. Well done, Soph. Look at that.
She's always got that can-do attitude, you know what I mean? Just sort of walks around and like, yep, I can do this, you know, really sort of just gets on with it, you know what I mean? Very positive.
It's so important in our sport.
When she used to do a lot of travelling just to get to training, she would tell me that she's not living in Sydney and, you know, do these massive hours on the train rides to come to training. So she's put a lot of dedication, a lot of effort into her career. So hats off to her. Well done, Sophia Knight. Okay, that's the penultimate dive for her. Moving on to Ruby Drodgemiller. Also reversed 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position.
Wow. There it is.
There we go. Sharp and clean. A beautiful rip entry for Ruby Drodgemiller. You can hear the scores coming out of the speakers there. The 68.60.
That line through the water was just so flat, so clean. The judges will definitely be impressed by that. Well done. The synchro partner and teammate there in the background clapping that wonderful dive.
That's the good thing about our sport. We show a lot of appreciation for one another. We all respect each other. We understand the fears and how much we put into this sport and to make it happen. Because we're always nervous, right? You're nervous to do these big dives. They're very challenging. You're in the competition environment as well. So great respect and camaraderie amongst the athletes. Lauren Flint, back 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. The ladies and the women here today are on fire.
Amazing.
At the Brisbane Aquatic Centre.
She'll be really happy with this. I've seen Lauren do this dive like this on many, many occasions. And for her to put that away at this important moment, she'll really build in confidence and go through to that last dive with, really happy with that dive.
An exquisite pike position. Look at this.
Big jump. Look at that. Again, another flawlessly technically sound dive.
Look at that. Wow, 2 9s from the judges. Fantastic dive. And those scores were well deserved. It really was beautiful. So Laura Hingston, really big dive here. So in with 3.5. Good girl.
Yeah, that's a nice solid dive there for Laura. Probably historically been one of her more challenging dives there, but I know that she'll be really happy with that. That's straight up and down.
Look, well done. She had a little tricky situation, obviously, in this synchro event. She's made a great comeback.
Yeah, she had it right there. It was a beautiful tuck position. If she was just a little bit more straight through those hips on that entry, I've seen her really disappear on this dive. I know that she's capable of doing that, but just left that a little bit piped through her hips. Mm-hmm. Yeah, coach and athlete very happy with that.
Okay, Maggie Gray, reverse 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Oh, stellar performance from Maggie Gray, the local Brisbane girl, on fire today.
She did a fantastic job to get that around. I think she came out a little bit early and really had to pull this around. Yeah, right there you could see. I think she knew that was a little bit early, but the sign of an amazing athlete is knowing and being able to adjust in the middle of the air, knowing that could have been short, and she worked right there to pull that around and have that kind of entry. She'll be thrilled with that.
Matt, yeah, great points. Another 10 from the judge.
Fantastic.
Judge number 3.
That's so nice to see, isn't it?
Is getting a bonus tonight. But no, really good observation there. You're right. Like, she probably was like, "Oh, I'm just a tiny bit short," but had that fantastic awareness to pull it around and smoke the entry. Millie Puckeridge in with 3.5 somersaults tuck. This is the penultimate round. All the height in the world, leaving herself room to breathe for the come out. Wow.
Fantastic job there by Millie. As you mentioned, great takeoff, Joey. Really high finish. Again, just needs to be that little bit more tight through that core on that entry just to get that nice, clean, sharp rip that we're all looking for.
How's the takeoff, though? I mean, just...
Oh, it's incredible.
Just how much room, and look how high she finishes. Bang! Out. I mean, just so much room at the end. I mean, that would just, with a little bit more time and a little bit more polish, we'll be scoring 8s and 9s, no problem at all. Big score, though, still at the end of the day. 72 points. The judges really rewarding that nice takeoff. How about that? Maggie Gray, so 10 points ahead of Millie Puckeridge. Just going to have a quick little sneaky look on in terms of degree of difficulty coming up between the two. So, yeah, both 3.2 DD. Nice clean front 1.5, just keeping it simple as well. So obviously just developing a list over time. And so it's really important to do that, just not to push yourself too quickly. Doesn't matter if you're doing a more simple dive.
Yeah.
You just got to slot those things in, until the more difficult dives come.
That's right. I know that she'll be working on a 107B in the background, but choosing to do the 1.5 at this meet here. But it won't be long and we'll see Kayla doing that 107B on 10 metre.
All right, we are in the final round, folks. Not too far away to see who'll be crowned the champion here today. We've got Hannah Smith. Back 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist in the pike position. Dive that requires immense power. Well, they all do, really. This is all about optional dives.
Yeah, just missing that power, as you just mentioned there, to really bring those legs up and work that dive from the takeoff. It's a little bit too slow, and when that happens, you can really get that sense of gravity sort of taking over.
And do you think probably sometimes, maybe you start feeling a little fatigued towards the end of the competition and sort of considering the compounding effect of the other previous events too?
Absolutely. Again, I know Hannah's probably done the individual event, but then also the synchro event as well. So that is a lot of diving. I know Avie's done a really good job to sort of space the program this week to accommodate the athletes and being able to perform. But again, it's a big week. And there's a lot of diving that these athletes are doing.
Okay, same dive from Sophia Knight as well. So back to enough somersaults, 1.5 twists once again.
That's a great way to finish. Really well connected, not just off the platform into her twist, but then into that somersault as well. Very, very smooth, very dynamic, giving her the time and space to get that nice and vertical. She'll be really happy with that finish.
Yes, you're right. I think it looked like she really controlled the out there. She knew what to do at the end of the dive. Getting to that nice vertical line. So 64 points at that particular dive. Faring quite well. Looking determined on the platform. Like I said before, always goes about her business in a really chirpy and delightful way. So congratulations, Sophia Knight, for rounding off your competition here today at the Australian Open Championships. Moving on to Ruby George-Muller. Also, it's interesting, choosing to do back 2.5, 1.5 twists.
Yeah, again, working that dive around, you could see just slightly dropping again when she came out of that twist. You could see the gravity just sort of taking over, and so it was a little bit low to finish. But again, really nice takeoff, beautiful twisting action, just a little bit low to finish on that water.
I felt like the elevation was really good, but it was just lacked just the feet picking up to get the somersault going.
That's right.
That's
so
kind
that's
of what I was seeing. But
yeah, the connection sort of out of the platform into the twist, which then follows through to that somersault rotation as well.
Sometimes we have the feet just leaving behind. Still, very beautiful diver, very elegant. Getting some sevens from the judges, 65.60. Great diving. Okay, diver number 5, Lauren Flint, choosing to finish on a reverse 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Getting the chamois, drawing the legs off, ensuring there's grip on the legs.
Wow. Amazing.
Touch of class. Beautiful.
I spoke before about athletes wanting to start and finish with dives that leave a really nice impression, and I think she's just done that there. She saved the best till last. Amazing jump. Again, that flawless come-out technique, and then the entry, which is, that's the ultimate finish to a dive.
Piece de resistance.
That's right.
Oh.
No, really amazing to see Lauren really step up and perform well in that final.
Vanishing act on the end of the dive.
Teammates really happy for her there as well.
Punching out some great scores, 2 9s, bunch of 8s. Amazing stuff. Laura Hingston. Back arm stand, double somersaults, 1.5 twists. Look at the toes. Oh,
and there
what
it is
a way
again.
to finish.
What a fantastic finish there by Laura. One of her favourite dives, and you can really see why. Really bringing that, again, that aesthetic and that gymnastics background that I spoke about before into diving.
Polished performance from Laura Hingston on that particular dive. Lovely. Does she do ballet? I mean, like in terms of her toe point, I was just looking at...
I would say it would just be a product of her gymnastics background.
Yeah.
And she's really sort of brought that over into diving, and it's fantastic to see.
Fantastic entry, fantastic dive. Got to feel good to finish the competition in that way. Penultimate diver. A lot of back 2.5 somersaults of 1.5 twists in this particular round.
Oh, well done. That was an amazing way for her to finish.
It has been an amazing competition for Maggie Gray, staying poised and calm, cool, calm and collected.
Wonderful smile there too. She's really happy with that.
Just a mere 16 years of age.
Wow.
Local Brisbane girl, showing us why she's the world junior champion. But of
diving
course,
like a seasoned professional.
Unbelievable. She's got to walk away feeling absolutely chuffed with herself here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, over the course of the competitions, look at the scores.
89
there
81
well.
on that last dive. That's a fantastic way to finish.
Huge. Millie Puckeridge, here we go. Back 2.5. Somersaults, 1.5 twist, same dive as Maggie. What a competition. What an event. What a display of diving. Witnessing the world's best. I know it's Australian Championships, but this is world-class diving here today.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see the depth and the quality and talent of our up-and-coming athletes.
Big scores, 78.40. Nothing but class across the board from our athletes here today for all the women competing in the finals.
Again, we spoke about that jump and that aesthetic and power of Millie off the takeoff there. Just really nice, high finish, great entry. Really nice way for Millie to finish that.
And our winner today goes to Maggie Gray, representing Queensland, the local Brisbane girl. Just leading the way above Millie Puckeridge, but Millie obviously demonstrating immense degree of difficulty today. Laura Hingston's got to be happy with her third place finish. I mean, just a few little misses here and there, but still a great performance. Pretty tightly packed between Lauren Flint and Ruby Dodge-Miller. Fantastic diving there. And then not much of a difference between Sophia Knight and Hannah Smith. Kayla Davies. Matt, thoughts, just final thoughts on the competition that we witnessed here with the women on the platform?
Yeah, I think I said it before. It's just fantastic to see the depth and the quality of the athletes coming through. I think that really, sets us up nicely as we lead into LA and beyond into Brisbane 2032. So, again, fantastic results. Mixed between experience, but then also the young talent coming through. It's really exciting for women's platform diving in our country. So, yeah, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, great stuff, though. Look, Matt, it was an absolute pleasure getting your insights today. It was really... Yeah, it was fantastic just watching that diving today. Men's 3-metre final with you and obviously the women's 10-metre final. A lot of good takeaways from this. Everyone will just hone in the skills and do a little bit of polishing just before we go off overseas. And Matt, just want to say best of luck for all of your events coming up this year. And I've got to say, look, you're just doing such a fantastic job. And I'm not just saying that to be nice. I think you really help mould the athletes into great human beings and of course, into great athletes here as part of the Diving Australia team. So congratulations. Best of luck for the competitions.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time today.
All the best, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medal ceremony for the men's 3-metre springboard final. The medals for this event are being presented by Alex Newton, CEO of Diving Australia. The medals being carried by Aranza Yongyans. In third place, the bronze medalist representing New South Wales, Sam Fricker, with a score of 1068.25. In second place, the silver medalist representing Victoria, Hudson Skinner, with a score of 1149.70. And in first place, the gold medalist in 2026 Australian Open men's 3-metre champion, representing Victoria, Benjamin Wilson, with a score of 1185.30. Now, gentlemen, don't go away. We've got 80.
Yeah, stay still, fellas. Okay, the Competitive Excellence Award. This was a tough one. I've lent on the guys a little bit this year. I've actually raised the bar on them, mainly because I want to see this event lift and I want to see some DD. And I really take my hats off to a few of them that have really grabbed that gauntlet, particularly up on this rostrum today, both Sam and Hutto, who have brought reverse 3.5 twisters to the party and are pushing the inward 3.5 objective, which is very, very important for our strategy. But today, this is going to one of them, and I'm going to give it to Hutto. That reverse twister was special. And if I can ask his coach Harriet just to come up here a minute and just thank Hutto and Sam and the rest of the guys as they push up on that bar for men's 3-metre. Thanks, fellas.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to our medalists. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the medal presentation for the women's platform final. The medals for this event are being presented by Mr. Stephen Foley. Steve is an Australian Olympian and also the former high-performance coach, director of Diving Australia. Medals being carried by Aranza Yongyans. In third place, the bronze medalist, representing Victoria, Laura Hingston, with a score of 881.15. In second place, the silver medalist, representing New South Wales, Millie Puckridge, with a score of 984.30. And in first place, the gold medalist in 2026 Australian Open Women's Platform Champion, representing Queensland, Maggie Gray, with a score of 997.30. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand for our medalists while they take a photo. And then we'd like to hand over to Mr. Adi Hinchliffe.
Right, the final one, and this was a tough one. I just want to take my hats off to all 12 athletes that competed in this event. Full 10-metre lists from all 12 girls. That's a real step up and makes this event really exciting for us at the moment. The award actually could go all over the place. It's just an incredible event. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving this award to Millie. Why Millie? I'll tell you why. Everyone knows international counts. Right now she's leading the way. She's our #1 athlete out on the international stage, and she's up there performing one of the hardest lists in the world with that back 3.5. And competing with young Maggie here, again, an incredible battle today. These two girls have done this over and over again. I've even been part of it a couple of times, and it just is, they're pushing each other and pushing this event to new levels. And we haven't even got Ellie here. So I'd like to present, please, can I call Chava Sereno up to present this to Millie?
Chava, can you just get a photo with Millie with the official photographer? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to our medalists, and thank you to Mr. Stephen Foley and Arunzi Yongyans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what an amazing week it's been. We've seen some incredible diving here at the 2026 Australian Open Championships. But that was the last event and the last medal presentation. So we wish you all a safe journey home, and thank you for being here this week for what has been an amazing insight into the future of Australian diving.